writing and research. 5th week for 4th week. Research design and methodology, and also how to getting the gathering and evaluation. So we're gonna make the research and literature review. At this time, many sources from literature, and sometimes we using the questionnaire. The last week I talked to you, and also this week we will research how to make the design and what kind of methodology in there. Also, we are gathering the source and evaluating the source. So how to evaluate and gathering. Before main thing, just briefly review the last week the literature review. So first time I remind for you guys for research process, as shown in the pictures, the review the available literature. So what kind of literature can available for my research, or something special research. And next stage is formulate a question. So what kind of do you want to know that something? Also, how to we formulate the questions, and select and appropriate research design. There are many kinds of design, so later we will review that. So the researchers choose or select unspecified or appropriate research design, choose the design, and then collect the relevant data. Means is I choose some research design and then next stage is correct the data. It's not any kind of data, so some relevant, corrected data collection, something we say the data collection, and then interpret findings. So we review the literature survey or literature's former researches, former literatures, and then we have to find something and interpret it. It means is educate or appropriate or relevant, something educate. So this picture says interpret findings. It means is what kind of relationship and how to we understand, how to we make connect the findings. And next step is publishing the findings. Finally, we got some outputs or conclusion or debate, anything. So publish means is writing. This is for again circular means is corrected information and data for upgraded your knowledge base. This is basic research process. You remember that? So, and last time we talked research methodology. Today we will review the research methodology this time. So research methodology is many kind of methodologies. For example, 6 stage research. Research methodology is a 6 steps methodologies. First, review and analyze. Second, performing feasibility research, also background study. And third methodology steps is primary research and market analysis. What is the formal research? Also market analysis, etc. And next 4 steps is data mining and data analysis. Data mining means, as you know, there nowadays artificial intelligence, AI. So AI is based on the database. So last time I talked to you, what is the data? What is data? Simply, I express the data from the history or record. History includes the record, many kinds of records, and history is automatically, we say the data. Data is some tracks or trend and the steps. And we have many kinds and very sorting this data. Last time, before the AI, we can use the only designated data. So we can use the data and getting some information from the history or record. This is data. And data gives some information. This is a very simplified process for before AI. So we already know the data. And then lots of methodology, method, or ways. So many kind of method and the ways for getting the information from the data. And the information gives some decision making. So some CEO wants to make a rational and educate decision making. It means I want to sell the stock, or how can I balance to invest, and especially financial part, how can I portfolio for my investment plan. So 30% stock, 30% is gold market, and 30% is fund, government funds. This is a portfolio. It is very important for investors. And also some CEO wants to make the decision making for invest for facility or marketing or hire, everything. So very serious decision making based on data, information. So these things need to information from data from record or history. So most of CEO, CFO, chief of executives, officers need to educated or formally decision making data, informations, and then they can make decision. So there are many kind of methods and the ways to make information from data. This we say is analysis. So analysis is a method, way, or literature, research, everything includes this area. This is process. At this time, we are set data mining. you know, the mining is some take out the gold and iron from the mountains, is their mining. So also there are tremendous mine data. So this is for whole data. How can we make it need something specified wants to information goals. Information is goals. But the final goal is educate decision making. This is goal. Or more prospective. So finally wants to the goals and outputs from this procedure. And there are many kind of data, accumulated tremendous data. So many data, and how can we choose that? Choose means a little bit same thing as sampling. So nowadays only will remain 2 weeks, 11 pips. It's a big issue in United States election of president, November 5th. So every day they announce many polls. So people want to know who is become president in next 4 years, Harris or Trump. So we forecast or anticipate after 11 pips. So I know there are in the United States voters about 2.4 billion, and among the 2.4 billion, they are registered voters. About 1.6 billion is registered for election. So there are 1.6 billion in here. So we cannot ask everybody who you sponsor, who you support. It's impossible. So we choose some 1, 2, 3, 4 or something. This is, we say this sample. Sample means is data. A little bit different maybe, but this is statistics. So we cannot investigate it for everything. Everything we said is population. We say population. For example, in the United States, President and all, 1.6 billion. So totally, as you know, the 3.3 billion in the United States population. So this is for elected population. Even if the elected population, but this 1.6 billion is a huge cases. So we cannot ask everything. At this time, need for sampling. Sampling means is choose. There are many kind of difficult ways for choosing. This sampling. Sampling is another very difficult area for researching. Anyway, this sampling and then make it sample. Last time I talked to you in the previous day around 10 cases. This 1,000 cases is represent of the 1.6 billion cases. So only 1,000 cases represents for 1.6 billion. So we choose the 1,000 cases and then 1,000 cases we evaluate. In the president's role is we are asking who sponsor. You are registered Democratic or did you register for Republican? or something. So once about around 1,000 cases evaluate and questionnaire, and then we can announce Donald Trump is 36%, Harris is 48%, plus minus 2 point. So it means it's 46% plus minus 2 means 44 to 48%. So 48% plus minus 2 evaluate range, it means 46 plus 50. So 46 to 48 is unbig, black. We don't know that, the black box area. So that's why a little bit more support from A to B, 2%. But 2% is belongs in this area. It means. So anyway, so now we comparing data. Data is population, something like that. But data is tremendous data. So we don't need to sample. Sometimes we sampling. This is another methodology. But data is first raw data. We can use that. How to mine. So this is a specific area data mining in the statistical area. So now data mining is some specified major for your future. It's very good area. Also, research methodology 5 steps is estimation, and statistical modeling, market forecast. Market forecast means is how to say the cases. The sampling says one. This is forecasting. And the last six step methodology is report, compilation, quality, checking, checking, and continuing improvement. Continuing improvement means I cannot say everything, even if I did it hypothesis. But next research, continuing improvement, something. So suggest that for next methodology. This is for normal research methodology steps. Also, research methodology steps is introduction, research method, research questions, interview, sampling method, something like this, election, and interview transcription, also same thing, and thematic analysis. Thematic analysis means is some theories opposite side and then analysis. The literary nature of the research. So what kind of nature of the research? And next, and another one is ethical implication of the research. As you know, this ethical is very basic area for every research and methodology, literature, because it's in the United States very specified ethic part. Last quarter I talked to you ethic. Ethic is conclude every discipline. It means is business ethic, medical ethic. Sometimes it's data ethics. Data ethic means is even if we can using the data mining and then choose the samples and at this processing we have to keep the ethics. It is a little bit related for a fake or some real data. says every major have some ethics. For example, economic ethic, ethic of business, ethic of theology, something. So every area, psychology ethic, medical ethic, or something like that. So ethical implication of the research. This research is educate for ethical implication or not. Just to review them and make conclusion. This is research methodology. Oops, where is it? Okay, so last week we reviewed the research design. So briefly, we reviewed that the research design refers to the strategies and methods researchers employ to carry out their research and reach valid and reliable result. Very important keyword is valid and reliable. Reliable means is we should be shown reliable result and valid result. It means even if you are very hard time for research for something special area, and then make the output, the result. But this is for useful our lives or social, any area. But nobody accept that this is not valid. So sometimes I saw some cases, there are some unuseful and unvalid research suggestions. At this time we reject for the students. So this is not good. Why? The reason is this is not valid area. Also some cases it's very difficult for reliability. It's a very untrust output. That's why research design is keywords, the valid and reliable research. Okay. So, for example, the experimental design, more quasi-experimental design, descriptive design, more correlation design, case study design, longitudinal design, more cross-sectional design, and more phenomenological design, action research design, or something like that. This is for research design example. Also last week I talked to you this 5C, very important for writing literature. Cite. Cite means reference and bibliography. And compare. What is difference then? Contrast. Critique. And finally need for connection. Connection, same thing. Okay? Today we will review the type of studies, type of researches. So before the today class, writing a literature review, just to briefly review the type of study, type of research. Descriptive studies, mostly this is from the literature survey, descriptive, narrative something, and observational analytic studies. It means we give some two groups, and one group is give to something specified material. The B group is different tools, and then we just see them, observed. and make some what is difference between A and B groups. It is cross-sectional studies, means cross-sectioning, and ecologic study, case control study, cohort study. This is for some example of observational analytic studies. There are many experimental methodologies. Also experimental studies. So randomized controlled trials. It means is in the United States make some new drug, medicine. In this case, we hired people, and then can you join this research and randomize. Randomize is pick the statistic, and then experimental study is what is your experience, what is your impression, what is your idea or something. This is type of study. There are three kinds of that. And also the other definition followed these pictures. So descriptive research, analytical research, applied research. Applied means is we make some theory and how to we apply it. For example, this theory is very meaningful, or I say it is reliable, or valid outcomes, result. And then this is for only men. Next step is applied for women, something. This study is only in the United States. And then the other researchers apply this methodology to Asia, or something like that. This is applied research. Fundamental research is very basic research. So this research is based on or supplied on the descriptive research or any analysis research. And the qualitative, as the last time we talked, also the mixed researching. And the empirical research is also same. So type of research is, first we say this quantitative and qualitative and mixed. But the other definition is follow this type. Qualitative, quantitative, fundamental, applied research, analytical research, descriptive research. Okay. So how can we writing a literature review? So literature review is a document or a section of documenting literature writing. Literature review is writing for some document and some sections. So we correct some key sources on the topic and discusses this source in conversation with each other. We call synthesis. It means is I talked to you this data correction, and then what did say, what did conversation or what they exist, and compare. So this literature review is an important genre in many disciplines. So not just the literature. It means it's the study of works of literature such as novels and plays. So when we say the literature review or refer to the literature, we are talking about the research. It is related some scholarship in given field. You will often see that item, the research, the scholarship, and the literature used mostly interchangeable. We can use this confusing, but it's using together. There's a literature, the research, the scholarship, interchangeably use that. So where, when, why would I write the literature review? Last time, to remember it, 5W1H, something like that. There are a number of different situations, tremendous situation. So where you might write a literature review each with slightly different expectations, different disciples also. So many feel specified expectations for what a literature review is and is. For example, for humanities, others include the argumentation and the interpretation, the source. There are many kinds in the sciences, and also others to argue and report to the design and research their literature review. So what is the differences and what is the reflection of the disciples' purposes? Also, there are many different conversations in scholarships. Also, literature review can be a part of the research papers or scholarly articles, usually falling after the introduction and before the research method sections. In this case, the literature review just need to cover the scholarship, just a very narrow area scholarship theory. That is important to issue your writing about this. So sometimes it will often also cover key sources informed your research methodology. So what are the part of the literature review? Most literature review use a basic introduction, body, conclusion structures. Introduction, body, conclusion. So if your literature review is part of the larger papers, the introduction and conclusion pieces, maybe just a few sentences, very few, no need that the long sentence, while you focus most of your attention on the bodies. If your literature review is a standalone piece, the introduction and the conclusion take up more space and give you a place to discuss your goals, research method, and conclusions separately from the one you discuss literature itself. So, as finally we said it, introduction part and body part and conclusion part. This is literature review parts. So first, introduction part. Introduction part need for inserts this area. First, introductory paragraphs that explains that your working topic and the thesis. So what is your working topic and thesis? Just briefly explain the introductory paragraphs. And also introductions shows to the forecast of key topics or text will appear in the review. It means is if I process this literature review and then I guess I forecast the result. Result means is key topics or text. So a little bit appears, which means it shows to the sentence in the introduction part. And potentially the description of how you find sources and how you analyze them for inclusion and discussion in a review. It means a little bit shows to the or writing the description of how find the sources. So what kind of use the sources and analysis. It means you have to show in the introduction part the methodology. Finally, I say the introduction part is you can explain the topics and themes. Also key topics and text. And also description, the focus, found the sources and analyze them. I can use the analyze some data. So will analyze the data. So briefly shows it. That's why 2 to 3 paragraphs is enough for introduction. And the main thing shows in the body part of literature review. Body part shows that the summarize and the synthesize, it means give an overview of the main points of each source and combine them into a coherent wholes. It means is in the bodies should be shown summarizing and synthesis. And next, in the body should be showed, analyze, and interpret. What is the analyze? What is interpret? Interpret is understanding. So don't just paraphrase other researchers. Add your own interpretations where possible, discussing the significance of findings in relation to the literature as a whole. It means is add your own idea, own interpretation, own your idea, thinking. Also in the body shows to the critical evaluation. So mention the strengths and weaknesses of your sources. I corrected the sources and then this is a little bit have a limitation. It means is my research review have strengths and weaknesses. Have to show that. It means is in the body should be shown the critical evaluation. And also writing the well-structured paragraphs. It means is you have to write well-structured paragraphs. This is for another area, but that's why this class title is Research and Writing. You mean these some books, published books or textbook, how can we express or interpret it and some make paragraphs methodology. So this is another area for using the methodologies in the body. So use the transition words and topic sentence to draw connection, comparisons, and contrast, etc. It means is you can make a narration for or write a well-structured paragraph. This is very good, very neat direction. And the last conclusion part shows summarize the key findings you have taken from the literature and emphasize their significance. So you find some conclusion and emphasize things. Also, what is your findings? Summarize the key findings from your research. And also connect it back to your primary research questions. It means it's reversing the introduction and then you shows to the I wanna research something, and then through the body, and final conclusion is connected for first introduction, primary research questions, and then final conclusion shows that connected. Okay, if I want to A equal B, and through the body structure, and then conclusion is I review the bodies and literature survey, and then finally I suggest A equal B. Okay, I summarize A equal B is, my finding is A equal B. And this is summarized in conclusion. So this is for very briefly consists of literature survey, introduction, body, conclusion. That's it. Also, how should I organize my literature review? There are many kinds of literatures. Where is it? Okay. Okay. So there are four kinds of literature review organizing. So literature review can take many different organizational patterns depending on the one you are trying to accomplish with the review. We have, I want to show the four examples. First is chronological, thematic, methodological, theoretical. There are representative examples for it. Chronologically means is the simplest approach is to trace to the development of the topic over time. Time base, follow the organized literature survey is chronological literature. This helps formalize audience and the topics because it's follow the time. 18th century, 19th century, 20th century, 20th century, this topic is changed. And trend is very familiar with the audience. If you choose this strategy, be careful for avoid simply listing and summarizing resource in others. It means is try to analyze the patterns, turning point, and key debates have shaped the direction of the field. It means is you are very careful for simple listing and also summarizing sources in others. In other means is right. So that's why you have to follow this chronological method. You have to give your interpretation of how and why certain develops the occurs, why and how. So the other samples is thematics. If you have found some recurring central themes, you will continue working with it throughout your piece. You can organize your literature review into subsections that address different aspects of topics. It means is a subtitle, subsections, and then combine and make a solution. This is thematics. For example, if you are reviewing the literature about women and the religion, key themes can include the role of women in church and religious attitude towards women. So it means is if you choose the keyword is woman and church, woman and religious. And you can use the subsections is woman, the role of woman in the church, and also religious attitude for women, and then compare and join, make conclusion. This is a thematic method. And the methodological method. If you draw your sources from different disciplinary fields, use a variety of research methods. You can compare the result and the conclusions that emerge from different approaches because there are many different ways, and then emerge the conclusion is a little bit different. So this is very representative and very powerful using the methodology. As we review that, qualitative versus quantitative research, empirical versus theoretical scholarship, divide the research by sociological, historical, or cultural sources. It means research by sociology, women's sociology, men's sociology, and studies sociology, society. It many different society and compared. Historical a little bit chronological methods. Historically, before something events, before pandemic, after pandemic, something like that. And cultural sources is different, also same. So we have many different cultures in the local, in the lab, on this place. It means is North American and South American is cultural sources is very different. So in this case, using the research, divided research methodology. Totally we say the methodological review. And the last example is theoretical research. In many humanities articles, the literature review is a foundation for the theoretical framework, because it's if I choose something topics, and then how can I magnificent or interpretation my suggestion of my idea or my knowledge, mostly very useful tools is theory. So former researchers announced or published the theories. So in this case, very theoretical frame is very useful tool. Nobody there. Useful tool is foundation for the research. So you can use it to discuss various theories, models and definitions, key concepts. It's very powerful methodology, is theoretical method. So this is a little bit avoids the arguments of the relevance of specific theoretical approaches. Also, it's easy to combine various theoretical concepts to create a framework for your research. This is for theoretical methodology. So let's move to what are some strategies or tips using the while writing my literature review. Usually, most of the researchers will need to synthesize the research rather than just to summarize, because summarizing is basically is not its idea. Summarize is just summarize. So makes a narrative the keyword only. So mostly you don't want to the summarizing. So some researchers want to synthesize the research. It means it's drawing a connection between sources to create a picture of the scholarly conversation on specified topics. It means a little bit difference shown. This is basic human mind. So many researchers or students, writers struggle to synthesize because they feel they don't have anything to add the scholar. So in this case, I want to introduce the suggestions. It often helps to remember that the point of these kind of synthesis is to show your readers how you understand your research, also to help them read the rest of your paper. It means if you avoid the summarizing or you points the synthesis, it's very useful for readers how you understand, how they understand your research. Also, writing teachers often say synthesis is like hosting and dinner party. Just joking. Imagine all your sources together in the room discussing your topics. So writing teachers suggest to what are they saying to each other, and then compare. Just observe. Look at the in-text citation in each paragraph. Citing just one source for each paragraph, it means you cannot copy that to other researchers' idea. So look the citation, each paragraph. So this is a very seriously ethical problem. So finally, the researchers, the authors suggest avoid the summarizing, read more about the synthesis, more and more, read that, and then getting information and getting different idea from literature study. Okay, now let's move to research design and the methodology, also source gathering and evaluation. Briefly, I review the research design. So research design is define the study type. What kind of study type? Experimental, observational, or more correlational. We will review that. Also, research design identifies independent or dependent variables. I say this independent variables and dependent variables. It means I want to know what is the impact variables. So I choose x1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something. If you choose the independent variables too many, it means it's more difficult to analysis. Also, it is if you choose the independent variables for 5, 6, 4, 10, it means you have to collect more data. That's why we make some very simplified equation. Dependence values this one. And independence values I can choose if you choose the 3 variables, independent values, x1, x2 plus c, x3 plus blah 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 plus epsilon t. But you are very simplified dependence of function f and x, ax1 plus xb bx2 plus epsilon t. That's it. It means is outcome fx independent class, the values only x1 and x2. Any other thing is epsilon t. This error is different. So I can express, I want to express dependence fx only 2 factors. x1 and x2 is 2 values enough to explain the fx dependence. So identify the independence, dependence values. Outline the overall structure of the study. This shows to the outline. I said the introduction, body, conclusion. So especially body will be shown, outline the overall structure of the study. And briefly, we review the research methodology. So briefly, I review again. The research methodology is a specified data collection method. how do we make the data collection? How do we collect the data? Surveys, interviews, experimentals, and some more questionnaires, lots of specified collection data. And also explains how data will be analysis. It means if we collect the data and then statistical test or thematic analysis or something like that. This is methodology related. Delay is the methodology part. And also research methodology describes sampling procedure. It's very important thing is sampling. Now today, headline news says we need more accurate data related to the presidential election of November 5th. So how do we correct the data? This is sampling. Now, as I said, this is 1.6 billion people is nominated, is registered in the United States. And the 1.6 billion, lots of people. We cannot read everything. So we choose a sampling. This procedure we say is sampling, as I said, and some correct 1,000, about 1,000 cases. This is, we say, is sampling. So this method is very important because, as you know, there's some belt, blue belt, or something, and the United States is very separated, but it's specified in the unique election method. So now you didn't know the California is exactly blue state, and some Texas exactly red state. So any nominated guys is not coming. Only using the Philadelphia, Michigan, you have lots of news from the newspapers. So who decides the president of the United States? These 3 or 5 blue belt and sun belt states decide the president election. Only 16, 19 electors from about 460, 405, 6, 7 or something. So this is not represented. So in this case, if you choose the samples in the only Texas or only California, it's very big bias. Bias means a big mistake. So sampling is very important procedure. Okay, we choose the sampling 1,000 samples from Texas. How many samples from San Diego, California? How many samples from Philadelphia? It's very important things. There are many high technicians. Say that's why research methodology describes sampling procedure. This is for very important contents for research methodology. So I wanna move to example. Research design example is a researcher wants to study an impact of new teaching method on students' test scores. Okay. This research design is okay. Some researchers want to know the impact of the new teaching method with student test score. If I try to new teaching method, and then the outcome is student score, test score. Well, what is the relation? And then the researchers suggest, oh, this is very new teaching method, express that. So using that or something. So this is for research design, for example. Research methodology example is to collect data. The researcher will administer pre and post test to both groups. Okay, a little bit more detailed things. Okay, we sampling 1,000 from the United States, and before that time, we can use the questionnaire at least minimum 30 cases, and only 30 cases, and ask it, and I will be review, not analyze. At this time, very small cases, just review them. And these cases, this minimized 30 cases, a little bit educate them. And then sampling. So most researches, first step is at least 30 cases. And then use the questionnaire sampling. This is exactly using the cases. This is normal stage part method. So post-test, pre-test. This means pre-test is about 30 cases. Post cases, 1,000 cases, something like that. So in this case, a little bit difficult word, the t-testing. Using the t-testing is analyzed, very powerful tools, t-testing. So each group, each 30 group, 30 group, 30 groups, and then compare. We can use the analyze. The t-test is very powerful tools for compare groups. Also, now I want to show the type of research design contents. First is overview the research design, just briefly introduction. Second body shows that the characteristic of good research design, basic research design method, research design types, research design approaches. This is for contents of research type. I just introduced the title. But it's this class is join the bachelor and master level, so I don't want to detail things, but only review that. So I want to say research paper, research writing, or research and literature is for focus the thesis and dissertation. Mostly thesis related the master level. Dissertation is doctorate level, so I don't want to more wide and deep method for you. Just I say this a thesis and dissertation. Some case is paper. You have many experience for research paper and the report. Mostly we say the report. So you have to submit some report, some topics, something. This is for graduation method. So I don't want to these things to review that. So just briefly wants to say that what makes the good research design. We need research design at this time. You think about it, four kind. What is it? Is neutral. Neutral means it's naturally setting the very neutral, not hide that and some specific area. Also, it is valid. I said invalid, very difficult. So, good research design need for valid things. Also, the outcome result is reliable. Also can be generalized. It's not specified, but generalized. Finally, I said these 4 elements need for research is good design. Okay. First, neutral, valid, reliable, generalized. These things is basic requirement for good research design. And also the type of research method. First thing is the experimental method, survey, interviews, questionnaires, case study, observational trials. Also very specified thing is the Delphi method. It's very tiny, specified, make the dissertation area. Also, let's move research design types and descriptive, experimental, correlation, and explanatory research, quantitative, qualitative. Okay. Research design is a structured plan to answer the specific research question, integrating various components and the method for data collection and analysis. It means its definition and importance. Also, research design versus methodology. Very seriously connected that if I design is good and then choose the methodology is more good relationship. While research design outlines the approach to the research problems, methodology details the implementation of the design. It means is if I choose the design and then choose the methodology is implement. Goals of research designs. Primary goal is ensure data address the research problem very clearly and accurately without bias. Ultimately minimizing error and producing reliable collection. Any kind of research have to ultimately biased. But how can we escape the bias? This is good goals of design. Also, this key right is neutrality, validity, reliability, generality. This is characteristic of good design. And also, the type of research design is descriptive, experimental, correlational, explanatory. Mostly, how do we approach the research design? Quantitative, qualitative, and the mixed. Most things. Okay. Let's move to source gathering and evaluation. Source, we have to correct the data. This is source gathering. The source gathering and then evaluation is a critical steps in the research and also involves finding assessing the credibility of information resource. It means is I want to know some part and gather the source and evaluate the source. This thing. So what are the 5 criteria for evaluating sources? First, authority, accuracy, objectivity, currency, and coverage. These 5 things, 5 criteria is for evaluating sources. Authority, accuracy, objectivity, it's related objective, and currency. And coverage. Coverage means is I choose the research design and then can explain the result. This is for coverage. And also there are many different ideas for evaluate the articles. This is good articles or not, nobody knows it. So mostly say this how current, and this information is relevant or not, and who is the authors. It means is we cannot distinguish the people, only these researchers from the master level or bachelor level or doctorate level is my thing. Okay, so basically, do you want to research papers? First thing is, what is the purpose of this research papers? And then also the sources from here, from why, something. This is for last thing is for research design and method and continuous, how to be gathering and evaluate the sources. That's it. Okay. Okay. This is everything to today's class, and also next week we will study the organizing research and the structures of papers, developing the research proposal, and a little bit more density and deeply things.